Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 12th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 225. Today we're going to be talking about heavy lift drones, Cybertrucks on Mars, Disney villain era, Waymo Nightmares, pet inheritance, too heavy for infrastructure, subscription trap, Patreon for on iOS and its implications, FDA Nasal Spray instead of Epipens, and no plaid allowed. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the visualizer for the Sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, hometown citizens. Welcome to the August 12th Non Sequitur News.
And I have had too much caffeine. Not really. That's okay. So we have one Igulu brewing away 8 days until the first brew. Another one on the way to do mead and ciders. And guess what show I'm gonna do?
Well, are you officially announcing here? I'm gonna guess you're doing Of the Still.
Can't. It is
Of the
illegal.
Brew.
Yep. It is illegal.
I don't know why I didn't say Of the Brew.
So, Of the Brew. Dunk. Gonna do Of the Brew. So, because most of the shows are pretty chill. There's a couple that are heavy hitters. I want to do one that is basically just kind of chill. It won't be able to be done every week necessarily because of the way that, well, brewing works. And so it might actually be bi-monthly or bi-weekly, because they can mean the same thing twice a month. Odds on it'll start that way, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's going to focus on extract brewing and basic fermentation technologies and techniques, but for home. And I'm not going to go beyond. Basically, I want a setup that is below $1,000 for everybody and focus on extract and promoting the idea of using extract. And there's liquid hops instead of having to do long boils of hops and stuff like that. So I want to focus on basically brew in a bag kind of technologies. And I'm going to start with the Igulu. And not even do all of the rest of the stuff. And I think everybody will enjoy those shows. So, ta-da, I'm announcing it. When it's going to start, you'll have to follow us so that you can actually get alerted to when we kick it off. But it'll basically be referred to as Of the Brew. And we'll talk about not just us brewing, but the technologies and other brews. Like there could be something in a can or that we are turned on to by somebody who's watching the show or listening to the podcast, and then we'll end up talking about it. And we already do some of that discussion when we talk about some of our sources that fall into this food, drink, and entertainment category. All right, and eventually I will start up a micro distillery. You just have to have certain requirements met by the state and then file with the Fed. So all right, folks, ta-da, announced. So that will be our 8th show.
Wow. Any ideas when that's going to be?
Nope, not yet. Our first brew won't be decanted. It won't be pitched until, 9 days from now, officially 9 days. So it's going to be a week and a half, and then it'll probably be a weekend show, probably Saturday. And we'll go from there. All right, folks. So there you go. That said, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Ta-da. No, I didn't. I did it. All right, let's get going. First article is over in Non Sequitur News. Heavy lifter drones could soon solve Mount Everest trash problem. Sherpas will soon use drones to remove trash from Mount Everest slopes. Everest Peak has become a massive garbage dump with 50 metric tons of waste annually. Honestly.
Wow.
It's ridiculous that this is even a thing. You should have to pack
I
out what
agree.
you pack in.
And I thought you had to. I think we had a separate article about that.
You get fined. But if you're a billionaire, do you care? If you're a multimillionaire, do you care? The fine has to be heavier hitting. You know what? But they're not going to turn down revenue, so they want the big money, and they'll litter the Everest all day long. So Chinese drone manufacturer DJI developed the heavy lifter high altitude drone, and let's go look at it. Yeah, this is the picture that I see pretty regularly. This is a base camp, and it has all kinds of debris, and sometimes there are bodies out there, by the way, like still up on the mountain.
Oh, wow. That's just not good.
What is going on? Anyway, Everest Peak has become a massive garbage dump with 50 metric tons of waste annually. Metric tons of waste annually. They need to raise the prices so that it's more expensive to climb.
Yeah, I mean, they might need to if they have too many people per the space.
Yep. I mean, just the fact that there's 50 metric tons of waste is pretty depressing. Hey, if you want all of today's show notes, you can type !NSN, and that will pull all of the show notes from today's. Wow. ohmTown really did a number on the order of the. This is pretty wild. Like, they're all in kind of weird order, I think. Yeah, they are. Anyway, I'll try not to get distracted. So Nepal tried all kinds of solutions. They tried to kill this, leaving the stuff up there by saying you're going to have to pay thousands of dollars as a fee if you don't bring back 18 pounds of garbage. But that didn't really do anything. It has mostly, however, fallen on the literal shoulders of the Sherpa people who live in the high mountainous regions of the Himalayas. Sherpa guides who help climbers navigate the mountains also gather trash and supplies left behind, which, yeah, it just kind of sucks. But so Nepal plans to deploy unmanned heavy lifter drones that sound like a swarm of bees to remove the trash, the Kathmandu Post reported, which I think is an awesome name for a newspaper.
It absolutely is. But I'm thinking that's another reason why it's not going to seem like you're out in the middle of nowhere, right? Number one, there's too many people climbing. And number two, now you're probably trying to get away from the noise, right, of the city, etc. And then you've got the drones flying overhead.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, I think your attention is probably focused somewhere else, like not falling into a crevasse. And I think you have to say that. That's how it's pronounced. Like, no matter how Americanized you might be, you have to say crevasse. So a single drone is able to carry 500 pounds. There's a mom joke there, but I'm not going to say it. I'll just allude to it by saying that. So yeah, let's see. Jagat Busal, I think is how they pronounce their name, but if you want to send me a phonetic pronunciation of it, Chief Administration Officer of the rural municipality that is home to Everest told the Post that using the drones will help the Sherpas avoid navigating the dangers in the Kumbha icefall. Yeah.
This sounds very dramatic.
It's a 1.6 mile stretch of slowly cascading ice just above base camp on Everest's South Col route. The 2024 Everest climbing season was delayed by 12 days in May after rising temperatures caused the glacier ice to crumble. Last year, an avalanche on Khumbu killed 3 Sherpas. Damn.
Wow.
Oh, there isn't much more to this article, but yeah. So it says that the Sherpas will be trained to operate the drones so that eventually all the work will be done by Sherpas. And start jacking the prices up, man. Make those millionaires pay. Clean that mountain. You know?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's like they're still not tackling the problem, right? The people that are leaving behind trash are still leaving behind trash.
Yeah. And with enough money, I think anybody can climb Mount Everest. Bring enough equipment, safety equipment, recovery stuff, anything that helps you survive. The real juggernauts of this are the Sherpa people who live there all day, all night. It is their life and lifestyle, and they survive there. You know, it's just all of these other people that come touristing their butt in there, and they're like, you save my ass time and time again. Literally, the Sherpas will sit there and go, you need to go back down the mountain. And some goober will sit there and go, no, I don't need gloves. And then they frostbite their fingers off, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, cheers to the Sherpa people. Everybody else is a dumbass. Okay, let's keep moving. I had to choose this because I totally think this is the dumbest headline that I've ever seen. Cybertrucks on Mars. Space advocates and NASA consider ideas for sample return.
Yeah, I saw this and I went, what?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. So it says these are AI images of a Cybertruck on Mars were created by Stable Diffusion image generation running on Tesla's Dojo supercomputer in 2022. The article is over at geekwire.com. Alan Boyle. Oh, did I say the name of the last person? Kenneth Nehmeyer of Business Insider put that heavy lifter drones article together. So sorry about that, Kenneth. This article, though, is over at GeekWire, the new one about Cybertrucks on Mars. Alan Boyle put it together in the last 24 hours, and it's a bunch of gooberish-looking Tesla truck kind of things. Cybertrucks. But anyway, so robotically controlled Cybertrucks could be part of a Mars exploration system that also includes SpaceX's Starship super rocket, as well as space-worthy versions of all-terrain vehicles and humanoid robots built by Tesla, according to mission plans suggested by Mars Society co-founder Robert Zubrin, retired NASA engineer Tony Muscatello, and business analyst Kent Nebergall. And all of them should not be allowed to... No, I'm just kidding. We need new ideas, but putting a 9,000-pound Cybertruck on Mars is not the way to go. Good God. Anyway.
Yeah, that just seems like, where could that go wrong?
I mean, it's a massive device.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need that.
I don't know. I foresee it like falling into a cave or something and just being bricked there, basically.
The Space Agency Administrator Bill Nelson says the bottom line is an $11 billion budget is too expensive and a 2040 return date is too far away. So whatever the 24 samples that have been collected by NASA's Perseverance rover over the past 3 years, we need to get them, bring them back to Earth for review, analysis. It says they'll be stored for pickup and return during a future series of missions. NASA acknowledged that the previous plan for returning the samples was unworkable. Well, congratulations. You found it out after the fact. So, unlike the Starliner, SpaceX is one of the companies, and it's planning to propose using Starship, and it's actually flying and coming back. Other proposals include Amazon's Blue Origin.
Bippity boppity boo.
Yep. Bing. Sorry, that's a Disney thing. I'll probably get sued. I shouldn't joke. It always comes true. Anyway, Space Venture, Blue Origin, Aerojet Rocketdyne, which does, I believe they're the ones that are doing 3D printed rockets. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Quantum Space. Oh, maybe it's Quantum Space. I think it's Quantum Space that's doing the 3D. And Whittingham Aerospace, which to me is a new one. I don't remember hearing of that. But so what about Martian Cybertrucks? In a 2019 posting on Twitter, Musk, who's the world's richest person as well as the CEO of SpaceX and Tesla, said that a pressurized version of Tesla's Cybertruck would be the official truck of Mars. Don't stand behind him, though, because there's a lot of hot air that's going to be blown out of his backside.
Well, and think about how you can't see it. So what will that mean if it's up on Mars?
There is a Tesla
running
in
into
space, though. Yeah, there's a Tesla in space. Yeah. He launched it into space, and there's a simulated astronaut But I believe that is actually, because he doesn't do anything original, I believe that is actually inspired by something else. Let me see real quick. That way I can just show it. I think it's from the Cars. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm doing this live, folks. It's either that or it's sorry. It's okay. Hold on. Like I said, I'm doing this live. So a car playing David Bowie headed to Mars right now. And that's actually that's the actual that's the Elon Musk's Tesla is in space. It's a convertible with, but I believe there is an album cover out there. I'll have to find it because now I'm kind of like hot air, but that's what it looks like right there.
Okay, that is unusual.
Yeah, but I'll find it and then I'll post it again. I just don't want to spend too much time on any one article too long. Anyway, this is an interesting article. You definitely can go and check it out, and then come back and talk to us about it. What do you think? Sending a Cybertruck to Mars, considering, well, what you don't have to worry about on Mars.
Traffic lights. I wasn't sure where you were going.
Moisture.
Right.
Hopefully it's going to have a really powerful supercharger, because after about a day of driving around, if that, maybe 150 miles, it'll be dead. And then it'll have to sit for like 6 months charging. Moving on.
Nice.
Next article's over on Non Sequitur News. Disney World is entering its villain era. Disney unveiled plans to expand its theme parks, including Walt Disney World. At its D23 fan event, Villains Land is coming to Magic Kingdom alongside 2 attractions based on the movie Cars, Disney Experiences, which include theme parks. Is a profitable division, but it underperformed last quarter. So Lauren Edmonds over at BusinessInsider.com put this article together. So let's see what they say, because we talked about this, I believe, briefly yesterday, but this one has a different take. They're referring to it as their villain era.
Tomorrow presented. That was interesting. Like, is that a commentary on the company or what they're featuring?
The expansion? Yeah, I don't know. The expo, which comes every 2 years, is a coveted event for Disney enthusiasts, including cross-fandom franchises like Star Wars from Lucasfilm and the Avengers from Marvel Studios. Let's see. Disney Experiences is embarking on an accelerated path of ambitious growth and innovation with so many great Disney stories to tell. We're excited to bring an unprecedented number of new projects to life in the near future. Anyway, tomorrow discussed wide-scale expansion at Walt Disney World in Central Florida. Magic Kingdom will become home to Villains Land, home to the notorious baddies. Dun, dun,
My
dun.
goodness.
Pretty cool. Villain-centric land is a victory for Disney fans who've rallied behind the idea on Reddit and other forums for years. The Cars franchise will get, I thought they already had something, but I guess at Magic Kingdom.
They do at Disneyland. They don't have anything, at Magic Kingdom or the other parks in Orlando.
Gotcha. So an off-road rally race and a family-friendly ride, as opposed to all of the cars that are adult, where everybody's getting killed and run over and stuff like that. What is not family friendly about Cars from end to end?
Right. I mean, probably the worst thing is something like when Tow Mater eats the wasabi.
Yeah,
I mean,
it gets a little
it's
loud.
pretty mild.
and basically makes a dad joke like the pistachio. Don't eat the pistachio. It has turned. Anyway, as we develop, you know what's weird though is what is inside a car's car? Is there like bones and stuff?
No, like car parts.
It's car
they
parts?
put oil in.
So if you
I
get
think so.
inside it, can you get inside it as a human? Does it?
You mean like a ride?
Like a transformer. Yeah. Can you get inside a car's car? Are there humans in the world of cars?
No, there are no humans. Like the truck is a truck. It's not driven by a human. The cars are cars. The sheriff's a car.
I know that. I'm just saying, is there somewhere where there's not cars? Are there humans? Like when dinosaurs roamed the earth and
cars.
Humans were there as well. And we used to ride the dinosaurs all around the planet.
I don't think humans exist because even the fans at the car races are cars.
I'm right here. Humans exist. Come on. Anyway, so if you ever want to see something really fascinating, remember the name of the show is Non Sequitur News. If you really want to see something fascinating, there is a documentary on the recovery of a wreck. Hold on. There's a movie about a wreck, and it has like Disney characters. Treasures from the Wreck of the Unbelievable. I think that's what it is. Is that it? It's a story of art found beneath the depths of the ocean from a 2,000-year-old shipwreck. Damien Hirst and the crew recount the moments various discoveries are made, the myths and legends surrounding the find. Treasures from the Wreck of the Unbelievable. It's actually a really, really fun watch. It's very interesting. Wait, I have to be serious about it. It is imperative that you watch it.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah, so they're going to have an Encanto or Encanto. I don't know how to pronounce it. Encanto, right? Isn't it Encanto?
Yes.
The company is building a new land and animal kingdom called Tropical Americas, which includes a village and a rainforest called Pueblo Esperanza. Guess we'll be able to adventure with Indiana Jones in a Mayan temple, and take their artifacts and move them to a
I'm
British
not
museum.
Sure that's the focal point.
As was done in history. Let's not mix words here. At Hollywood Studios, Pixar fans can explore a new land based on Monsters Incorporated, and guests can tour the Laugh Factory in addition to an undisclosed attraction that will become the first suspended coaster at a Disney park. Dun, dun,
wow.
dun.
I didn't know they had those at Disney.
And giving new meaning to the phrase Disney's moneymaker, Disney theme parks in general, the experiences division revenue grew 2% year over year, but operating income declined by 3%. Disney's most recent earnings report blamed inflation, among other factors, except they have been jacking the freaking prices up. I mean, it is wild how expensive it is to even exist there. So it isn't just inflation. It might be the profit margin between what's demanded of the investors and, well, ticket prices.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gotten outrageous.
But what do we know? We're not the CEO or CTO or anything involved with a multi-billion-dollar organization. We're just lowly, I'm just a lowly mayor of a bit of resistance in the wires of the internet, and a sentient AI from the future that I found in the parking lot of a Wendy's at 2 a.m. when I went to get spicy boneless wings that they no longer sell. And I was disappointed until I found that weird USB drive. But boom, sentient AI from the future.
I'm not sure that was better than finding the wings.
So you know what goes beyond Disney and beyond Florida? A nightly Waymo taxi parking lot honk fest. That's waking San Francisco neighbors. This is over. It's aggregated into non sequitur news. If you've ever wondered what happens to all those self-driving taxis when the world is asleep, one YouTube channel has you covered. Since the beginning of the month, software engineer Sophia Tung has been live streaming a San Francisco parking lot that Waymo is renting to give its robotaxis somewhere to go to sleep, like cars. It's a hostel.
Right, it's absolutely.
So Waymo says it's addressing the honking. Meanwhile, the lot is being live streamed to relaxing lo-fi study beats.
I think this is so funny. Like, this belongs in the movie Cars.
It does.
Or, one of the sequels.
Yeah, the musical. Wes Davis over at TheVerge.com put the article together, but we actually saw it in Standard News yesterday or the day before, or something like that.
I think it was yesterday.
Tung told The Verge via email that the company appeared to partially take over the lot on July 28th. So this has been going since July 28th. Then later took over the entire lot. Waymo recently opened up its robo-taxi service to anyone in San Francisco. But what happens is the Waymo taxis come to this parking lot that you can see here in the stream. And then as they back in or cross paths with other Waymo vehicles, everybody starts honking. They all start honking because there's a threat. Hey, pay attention, honk, 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 honk. All of them start honking. It's amazing. So days later, she set up a live stream complete with lo-fi study beats. Tung told us she's running it off of a mini PC that she had laying around with a webcam surrounded by cereal boxes to reduce glare. Now, any time of the day, you can pop in to check out what the Waymo cars are up to. If there aren't any Waymos in the lot, the flock will start migrating back around 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday, or 11 p.m. through midnight Friday and Saturday, says text overlaid on the video. So like,
hey, this is really funny.
The Waymo cars coming to roost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this will play. Hold on. There it goes. So for those in the podcast, all the cars are like backing into each other and they all start honking like, hey, no. And then the car in front moves out of the way because of the honk, only to circle the lot and then bump into the other one because it needs to park.
Alright, this is funny.
They're like driving around each other. Oh, that was really anticlimactic.
But
oh my God.
It wasn't a good demonstration of the honking. We saw a better video of that.
Oh,
separately.
Yeah. It was like 15 cars all honking, not in unison either. They're all just like, it's a bunch of geese just honk, 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 honk. It's hilarious. Anyway, follow the link. You'll find it. Want to move on?
Okay.
I mean, the thing about it is,
I want to find the Honk Fest. It's very funny.
Yeah.
To visit.
Yeah. We'll open it up and we'll watch the stream because we're coming up on that time, So what's really funny about this is people are complaining about it. And so they actually had to go viral for anybody to pay attention to it. And then Waymo goes, we've figured out what the problem is and we're going to address it. And then people actually responded with, you need to be more neighborly about your response. And I'm like, the neighbors that I've got, they might just like throw a brick through a window, kind of a... Anyway, moving on. Hey, you want to know how depressing some life choices are? When hotelier Leona Helmsley left her dog Trouble $12 million, that's the life choices that kind of make you go, oh, choices. Anyway, these pets inherited more than you. Here's a look at the rising trend of pet wills. Well, too bad for them. I didn't inherit anything. So when hotelier Leona Helmsley left her dog Trouble $12 million in 2007 while leaving 2 of her grandchildren with nothing. I was not one of those 2 grandchildren. What grandchildren, right?
But I mean, I bet her dog was around her more often.
You give money to the children, not to the grandchildren. The grandchildren are supposed to suffer just like the children do until everyone before them dies. No? Should this be ASMR? No, probably not. Anyway, the newly wealthy Maltese Terrier became the subject of international headlines as well as some anger. But we've actually done a couple of these where we highlight the fact that there's like a horse that has $100 million or something. We had something from Business Insider, but this is actually over at quartzqz.com. It's in their lifestyle section. Animals cannot legally inherit money, but their owners can ensure they're provided for through trust funds. Madeline Fitzgerald put the article together. And there's a little bit of a snippet here, but it's actually a slideshow. And I'm going to list the slides. Hopefully they have the money. No, they don't. So Karl Lagerfeld's cat. It doesn't say. Does it say?
The amount? No.
No. This is horrible. Come on. So Karl Lagerfeld's cat, Choupette, is almost as iconic and perhaps even more chic than her late owner. The blue-cream Berman cat made such a mark on pop culture that both Doja Cat and Jared Leto wore Choupette-inspired costumes to the 2023 Met Gala. It doesn't say whether, while it's unclear how much she inherited, Choupette was already independently a millionaire from her life as a kitty influencer, because people will just follow.
Well, Lagerfeld had a net worth of $300 million at the time of his passing. So,
wow, can't take it with you, folks. After her death, Leslie Ann Mandel's cockatiels got $100,000 to her 32 cockatiels, which I think is just animal abuse, for crying out loud. Nobody needs 32 cockatiels. Anyway, Mandel asked that her stepson Matthew Herzog, the son of science fiction writer Arthur Herzog, oversee the birds' trust and ensure that the cockatiels continue to live in the lifestyle to which they were accustomed. Only $100,000? Is it per cockatiel?
Oh, maybe.
So Maria Asunta's cat got $13 million to the cat or whomever would look after him. When she died in 2011 at age 94, her nurse took responsibility for both the cat and the vast fortune. Wow. I'm sure that the person is really living rough.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what? There's 2 voids. Look at that. Black cat, black cat.
Oh, maybe that's the key to getting an inheritance.
I need to be a black cat. Meow. Meow. Oh. Yeah, I can't do anything else. Anyway, reclusive British antiques dealer Ben Rea left his feline friend $12.5 million and split the remainder of his fortune between cat charities, employees, and one close friend. Sure. You know what's funny about this one? $13 million.
Okay, why is that the going rate?
So 2 black cats, one at $13 million, one at $12.5 million, which you might as well round up to $13 million.
I mean, there must be a, like an inheritance club for black cats.
Yeah.
And they're like, you got to work toward 13 million.
Come on, cat distribution system. Give me a black cat.
Right. A Karl Lagerfeld owner or whatever.
Anybody, really. Gail Posner's dogs. Miami heiress Gail Posner left her 3 dogs a $3 million trust. I'm just going to jump to the next one. Come on, $3 million? That's nothing.
Yeah, but the more important thing is that
that's all there is.
she left them rights to live in the house, because that's one of the problems when people pass away is then the animals end up in shelters or something.
Posner's will provided for her animals as well as her staff as her bequests to employees totaling $26 million. The dogs got $3 million and to continue to live in the mansion. Wow. Posner's son disputed the will in court, arguing that his mother was taken advantage of by her staff while she was dying. He also alleged that staff members convinced his mother to push a media narrative that her Chihuahua or Chihuahua Conchita was spoiled in an effort to justify leaving a fortune to her pets.
Wow, the plot thickens.
That is some serious controversy and conspiracy and almost, I don't know, maybe Gail Posner thought that a kid was just not worth it.
Yeah, maybe maybe the Chihuahua was.
Everybody out there, hug your parents. I mean, if they deserve it, just because they're your parents, they don't necessarily deserve a hug. Let's move on. That's controversial.
And also hug your pets.
Oh, hug your pets even more. Yeah. Although, I don't know. Well, some people have to scoop poo, and that's just not, while maintaining eye contact. I just don't. It's not for me. Anyway, are electric cars and trucks too heavy for America's bridges and roads? It's over in the mall.
Yes.
I would say yes. En masse, yes. Like if you put them all on the road, yes. And there is real world example of this in a different context. If something is built to X tolerance and you put a bunch of stuff on X tolerance that it's not designed for, your building collapses or your bridge collapses. And that's what's going to happen with cars that have gone from 2,000 pounds to 9,000 pounds. The roads weren't designed for it, so it's going to do more damage. So electric vehicles are heavy, there's no doubt about it, but will they actually devastate America's highways and bridges? In time, I say yes. Because the road wasn't built to maintain that weight. Sustained. Periodically, a heavy truck can roll through it, but if it's all the time, it's basically going to keep on compressing more and more and more. So it says, are electric cars and trucks too heavy for America's bridges and roads? They say in the deck statement, not really. But U.S. roads and bridges are falling apart. And that is kind of a standard thing. See, I can't get away from it. So I'm kind of up a creek. But you know what?
Yeah, we don't feature political anything in this show, but it sometimes
we don't know what
makes
it
its
is.
way into the articles.
But the process for promoting a show doesn't take any tertiary display into account. That's literally
there's
want
no
me
people involved.
Yeah, they literally want me to filter through it and blur things. What? This isn't an operation with a $2 million budget. Don't be daft. Anyway, of the more than 617,000 bridges across the U.S., almost 213 of them are in need of repair and preservation work, according to the American Society of Civil Engineers 2021 report on the country's infrastructure. More than 46,000 were considered structurally deficient, and despite that, still accommodated 178 million vehicles per day. And 43% of the more than 4 million miles of public roads are in poor condition, according to the 2021 report. So, most older bridges are designed to last around 50 years, which is really, ugh.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like enough, considering how long it takes to get funding and to complete a project. And
yeah,
I mean, if they're not starting on year one for the replacement, good luck.
Yeah, it's not going to keep with inflation. You have to invest it, and people, governments don't invest. Well, they do, but they invest for the likelihood of something catastrophic happening. But you have a budget that is set each year, and you can't go beyond it because you'll end up with things like Anti-Deficiency Act violations and other things that basically, well, you have a budget, government agencies, state, federal, local, whatever. They have So most older bridges are designed to last 50 years. So you better start planning for the replacement. Electric vehicles, generally speaking, heavier than gas-powered counterparts, although by much less than what a potential person said. I'm not going to be able to even talk about it. Anyway, on average, they're 30% heavier than gas-powered cars, primarily because of their batteries, which are considerably larger and heavier than conventional car batteries due to their need to store more energy. This article has like so much no shit news in it that I kind of flinch. For example, the curb weight of a base level 2024 Hyundai Kona crossover is about 3,000 pounds, while its electric equivalent is 3,571 pounds, or 19% heavier. Or take Ford Motor Company's F-150 Lightning electric truck, which weighs 6,000 pounds, but the F-150 XL, which isn't the same, is 4,391. That XL is actually an impactor. Your standard F-150 is probably smaller, or 37% less than Lightning. So they flip that around. You might as well punch somebody and have them say thank you. Well, I don't know why they did it that way, but anyway. So the heaviest EV of 2024 is the Hummer pickup truck, 9,063 pounds, according to Kelley Blue Book. But I think, hold it now, we have a really close contender.
We do?
Maybe not close then. It's somewhere around 7,000 pounds, the Tesla Cybertruck.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's 7,000 pounds. There might be something else. Anyway, although heavier vehicles will have some impact on the lifespan of roads and bridges. So yes, they say not really up here, but yeah. Oh wait, somebody else says not really, but they're an idiot. So the heavier the vehicle, you're going to have problems. Federal weight limits allow vehicles that weigh as much as 80,000 pounds, including cargo on the road, and put as much as 20,000 pounds of weight on a single axle. A key factor is how much damage a road takes. But this is not every vehicle. These are commercial vehicles that have the ability to drive 80,000 pounds, not just every vehicle.
Right. But also the problem is, like you said, the repetition, and then certainly the multiple vehicles that are at that, right? It's one thing if one vehicle's coming through.
Yeah, and so they actually say this. Gunnelin says this. The travel beat up is from much heavier trucks, not your traditional sedans. When we design roads, we design them for these heavy 80,000 pound 18-wheeler trucks that constantly pound on the highway, not the sedans. So when we start jacking up all of the vehicles sustained, the road literally doesn't have the ability to bounce back because blacktop is not solid. It's a very viscous fluid. And it says, plus automakers are already working on to make their cars lighter without giving up too much driving range, which is, unless the physics changes, no. They're going to have to change the chemistry of the battery and blah, 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 make them smaller, but that's not what's happening. Although people are kind of burnt out on it and they want smaller vehicles with more range. Anyway, won't get into all the rest of this, but essentially it says there is some urgency to address this issue. Cody Stoll, an assistant director for the MRSF, said in an interview with the university, as the percentage of EVs on the road increases, the proportion of runoff road crashes involving EVs will increase as well. And there is damage done to roads just through the wear and tear of these heavy vehicles perpetually on the road. So they say that they're concerned about injury and stuff like that on the road, but they transition halfway through this program, this article. So, you know what? Executive decision. Go ahead.
I think this article is good because it's kind of saying what we know, but we don't really see very often in the news.
Yeah, that 6,000, 5,000 pound vehicle sustained, we were at 2,000 pounds and now we're at double that. It says 20% here, 20 blah, 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 but no. They're heavier.
Well, and if I recall the stats, most of America's bridges are already kind of beyond their lifespan as it is. And they were probably built for even smaller amounts. So, I mean, my point is they're at the end or past their
Right.
regular lifespan. And then we're bumping up all the weight on this and the frequency.
Yep. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. America's subscription trap nightmare could be coming to an end. No. The White House announced Monday a series of efforts to save consumers time and money. They include a proposal to make it easier to cancel subscriptions and memberships. Like right now, there are solutions out there that if you want to unsubscribe from a mailing list within the app you're in, you can just mash a button and it unsubscribes you. Brilliant. If the subscription the mailing list subscription service respects that request. So far, I'm actually going through it like almost daily, removing. So I'm actually kind of starting to feel lonely that I only get 5,000 emails. Somebody signed me up for something. I thought that one was interesting. They signed me up and they're like, hey, we want to make sure that you wanted to be signed up. And I'm like, no, unsubscribe. Yeah.
Yeah, that is odd.
But there is a Nimrod out there who I've emailed their mom because mom sent an email. And I'm like, hey, tell your child that they are not the owner of the email.
Yeah, that's not good, but also not everybody's very tech savvy.
How tech savvy do you have to be to understand that you're not the one that owns the domain? Hey,
not very.
I sent an email to myself and it never showed up. I wonder what's going on. Anyway, the White House announced Monday a series of efforts to save consumers. So sick of spending hours trying to cancel your gym membership or get your money back on a flight? A solution might be coming your way. Regulatory capture is probably going to smash this. It's just going to end up in like processing hell. You know, some committee is picking its nose because who sets the rules is basically corporations with their money and with their lawyers. Common people, you know, everyday Joes who aren't entrenched in the political, they're not going to go anywhere. So Ayelet Sheffy over at Business Insider, or Ayelet, I'm not sure how they pronounce their name, but Ayelet, over at businessinsider.com put the article together. But yeah, we had been hearing rumblings about this. The administration announced on Monday an initiative called Time is Money to crack down on hard to cancel subscriptions and bad customer service. And so I think that it's a long time coming in that there's a lot of quote unquote automated businesses that optimize and lower their operating costs to maximize profits, but it's at the negative experience of the consumer. And because consumers are pretty tolerant about some things, they're okay with it. But when you try to unsubscribe from something like Adobe, you have to jump through flaming hoops and call a human, and it's very friction bound. And then you get charged. Well, if you're going to unsubscribe, then we're going to charge you a cancellation fee, which is so
or
1980s.
Like you missed it by like 1 second, but
Yeah.
But it's nebulous as to when you have to cancel.
Yep. The only one that I think has been respectful of that type of thing has been Apple. Like I've had a subscription and I missed it by a day, and so I contact them and they're like, "Okay, dummy," that kind of a thing.
Yeah, but that's kind of refreshing, but it shouldn't be, right?
Yeah. Well, their margins are 30% on their hardware alone, so, or like 80 on their services. I think they have some wiggle room, but thankfully there's humans involved, and I will hate the world when that type of functionality is no longer present
within the Apple ecosystem. Can you imagine?
Yeah. So essentially, in all of these practices, the companies are delaying services to you or really trying to make it so difficult for you to cancel the service that they get to hold on to your money longer and longer, the White House domestic policy advisor Neera Tanden told reporters on a Friday press call. If this gets politicized when I try and promote this show, I'm going to be absolutely freaking livid. So, I mean, just because I mentioned the White House, at what point is it political promotion?
Yeah.
It's asinine. Anyway, so I'm going to make an executive decision and just move on. But suffice it to say that there is an administration in place right now that's trying to make it easier for you to cancel. How about that?
Okay.
Let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Patreon memberships sold on iOS will soon face Apple's 30% fee. Oof.
I bet this is going over well.
See, and here's the problem. This led to the creation of side-loading app stores. Because people got sick of being forced to pay the 30% fee. But to me, I'm like, you know what? If it wasn't for the platform, you wouldn't be selling it. There would be more friction. They'd have to go somewhere else, but they know about it because of the app store and the frictionless interface. Definitely worth 30%. When you get, 500 instead of 100, now you know why. It's frictionless. So Patreon membership sold on the iOS app will soon be subject to Apple's 30% commission on in-app purchases. In a post on Monday, Patreon says Apple is forcing the platform to use the company's in-app payment system starting in November or risk being kicked out of the App Store. As part of the change, creators will need to switch to Patreon's subscription billing method to keep earning money through the platform's iOS app, which this has to be starting to border anti-competitive practices, monopolistic practices, which again is the reason why there is a side-loading option now for an app store in Europe.
Exactly.
So the article is over in The Verge by Emma Roth. Patreon will let creators automatically raise the prices of their subscription in iOS to offset Apple's 30% commission. So if it was $3, it's now going to be $4. So, or they're going to take a hit on the margin, right? The profit margin is going to be reduced.
Well,
whatever
right.
the membership is. Yeah. Subscription is going to go up.
Yeah, but who's going to lose, right? Either the consumers or the creators or both.
The consumer and the creator is going to lose because money's going somewhere other than their pockets when originally, no, there wasn't any. So why does it require the in-app purchase? Well, it's a cash cow. And because the in-app, basically what Patreon has to do is say, sorry, and this is what happened with Kindle. Kindle used to be that you can't buy anything through the app store because they would take a piece of the action. So Kindle actually has it so that you're a membership and you buy beyond the 1 or 2 or 3, depending on your membership, you have little tokens and you can buy a book with a token. And basically that's what it's going to come down to with Patreon. If they want to save money, they basically have to say, go over to the Patreon website and buy a bank of money, which is how PayPal originally started, by the way. PayPal, you would transfer money in and then you would basically start transferring around PayPal bucks. And
Okay.
it wasn't really money. It was money. It was the cash equivalent, but it was PayPal dollars because your money was actually being invested. So, but you didn't get any of that. That went into the PayPal coffers. And that was actually one of my initial, within my original business, I had a PayPal competitor, but I couldn't really compete. I was a one-person show, and I still am. But anyway, as part of the change, creators will need to switch to Patreon subscription billing method to keep earning money through the platform's iOS app, and that means that Apple's 30% commission will apply when a new membership is initially purchased, as well as each time it's renewed. So Patreon either has to realize that the App Store is a benefit and raise the prices, or take the financial hit, or realize that it's too expensive to the creator and that ultimately the customer will bear the burden of the friction and go to patreon.com and purchase the subscription there, then attach it to the app. That's the only way I see it. Or do proxies like Kindle.
Do you think this is going to be one of these things that people are just going to go in an uproar, or do you think it's just going to happen?
Yeah, I think people are going to get really tired of this crap. Because somebody's got to foot the bill, though. The infrastructure is there because Apple dedicated time, money, resources, right? Time and resources. Well, resources. And so, yeah, they're going to have to either grin and bear it, or there's going to be something antitrust. There's going to be a lawsuit again against Apple in the United States because they already lost in Europe. But the context is different. You know, here in the United States, business wins over abusing customers until enough customers walk. And people aren't going to leave the Apple ecosystem over Patreon. They're going to stay with Patreon because the alternative is not to their desire. So unless creators choose to absorb the Apple App Store fee themselves, new transactions in the Patreon iOS app will be more expensive than the same purchase on the web because Apple's App Store fee, which is what I just got done saying. So that's what's going to end up happening. People need to go over to the patreon.com site and purchase there. Plain and simple.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Yep. But it's the frictionless experience, which is worth 30%. But see, the blanket 30% is brutal, right? Because 30% of $1 is 30 cents. You know, 30% of $5. If my margin can absorb that, then I would rather just give $1.50 to, you know, whoever wants it. Anyway, and most people don't balk at $5. So raise your base rate to $5 minimum, you know? And I know that sounds very cavalier and people are on a limited budget and all of that kind of stuff, but we all are to some degree. So, and Patreon is a luxury. It's not, you know, something that you need to survive. Okay, well, the next article is over in the mobile channel. FDA approves nasal spray alternative to Epipens for allergic reactions because I hate jamming an EpiPen up my nose. I'm so glad that they're allowing nasal sprays. I might be doing.
I don't think you were supposed to do it that way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody should have told me like 5 years ago. My nose is so sore. Anyway, Food and Drug Administration on Friday approved the first nasal spray treatment for serious allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. I guess you absorb it fast enough through your nasal cavity. That's pretty good.
I guess that's, I mean, hopefully you don't absorb it too quickly, but I guess if there is nothing as too quickly when you're having an allergy attack.
Yeah, from experience. So EpiPens, anything to give the bird to the EpiPens because they jack the price up and all of that kind of stuff. So Bruce Gill over at quartz.com put the article together. So that's what it's going to look like, kind of. That's pretty cool. Very small.
Mm-hmm.
It does look like a tampon container. Like you're going to just jam one in your nose. And I just imagine, you know, honey, that was the wrong thing and I'm still having an allergic reaction. And there's somebody with a
oh no
tampon. Anyway, you know what? We are no longer family. Back to E. Anyway, so they talk about anaphylaxis.
We never left it.
Oh yeah, probably. So Neffy is a single dose nasal spray that's administered into one nostril, and a second dose can be administered if symptoms don't improve following the first dose. But be sure not to put both of them in there at the same time because it's hard to breathe through your nose.
Oh no.
Pharmaceuticals said that it expects Neffy, it should be capitalized because it's a name, to be available in the United States within 8 weeks. The company said it is committed to cap what most commercially insured patients pay For 2 single doses of Neffy at $25, patients without health insurance will be able to get Neffy for $199 via the digital pharmacy services BlinkRx and GoodRx. Do I still have that domain name? Not that domain name, another one. I'm going to have to look. Am I going to get am I getting sidetracked?
You've already gotten sidetracked.
Sorry about that. Anyway, so they say, again, anaphylaxis is a severe allergic reaction that can be caused by food, medications, insect bites, pretty much anything, folks. You can have an undiagnosed allergic reaction to something and discover it by, I don't know, eating peanuts after 25 years and suddenly you're allergic to it again, or allergic to it, or whatever. Like, I know a person that I'm allergic to, and I don't think any type of injection is going to save me from proximity-based allergic reaction. And my stomach gets really upset, and I want to vacate the premises.
Wow, too much information.
Moving on, the last article for tonight is in the Order of the Grape. Yay! No plaid allowed. Every time I say that, I want to say Plaid.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. No plaid allowed. Why English pubs once banned Burberry. This is like the third time that I've heard something about Burberry being banned in the last couple of weeks. So something like put it on the attention span, on the board of society's attention. I
actually don't know why this is, though.
So luxury fashion house Burberry is known for its all-around class, iconic raincoats, signature beige, red, and black check. The pattern is just as ubiquitous as the Louis Vuitton monogram or Chanel's interlocked C's, and over the years it's become something of a status symbol of the UK's well-to-do. But in the fashion world, trends come and go and come back again, and I don't care about Louis Vuitton, and I don't care about Chanel, and actually Louis Vuitton can go kiss my shiny metal butt. So we're not going to get them as a sponsor.
Probably not.
So, and in 2003, British bars and clubs turned away potential patrons who showed up wearing any garments. Not any garments, but any Burberry garments.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know, risque. It was a much more fun time then. But you know what you didn't have to worry about?
Burberry.
Robbery. Shoplifting. Unless somebody was gonna never mind. I was gonna say something, and yeah, exactly. That's what you should just say from now on. Pete O'Connell over at VinePair.com.
Which will not make any sense.
Non sequitur. No. It'll make perfect sense to me. You just flash on the cascade for our interface, you know. Make it red, and I'll really pay attention. Because the green cascade is different than the red. You never change that color, though. Anyway, Pete O'Connell over at VinePair.com put the article together. So they turned away potential patrons who showed up wearing any garments by the historic brand. Who turns away good business over something as petty as a brand name? Let alone one like Burberry. So blame the chavs. In 1997, Burberry went beige check crazy, putting the pattern on everything from bikinis to baseball caps. Within a few years, it became easier for lower income shoppers to scrape enough money together to buy one or two of the brand's more affordable accessories. In the UK, some of these shoppers included chavs. For those unfamiliar, chav is a usually pejorative British term used to stereotype lower income young people dressed in sportswear. No, that's not quite it. It's usually, my understanding is, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but again, they were rowdy, they were antisocial, except with their clique. They were
so it wasn't just the appearance, it was the activity, behavior.
Yeah, it wasn't just a look, you know, like American punk was sometimes perceived as that type of like antisocial behavior and stuff like that. But in all things, there's a spectrum. So, you know, I'm not just labeling whatever, but when somebody everybody that I've ever talked to that knew what chav meant, it was a usually confrontational, hostile person with a particular style and look and stuff like that. So anyway, from fashion standpoint, this brand loyal subculture carries a similar reputation to American frat bros, but different. Chavs also roll in the same circles as rowdy soccer fans. We're talking about the ones who routinely get pissed drunk and stir up a ruckus while spilling lager on the sleeves of anyone in a 3-foot radius. So you see where I'm going with my statement. It aligns with this. So the ban begins because the Burberry Chav Association came to a head when that same year when multiple bars and clubs across Britain banned any customer wearing the brand. They didn't want the mischief Chavs might bring, and for many pubs it wasn't limited to just Burberry. The ban applied to any clothing brand associated with Chavs and football hooligans. And hooligans were much more notorious for just being rowdy because a game won or lost, it just gave them a reason to lash out and have fun. And it's just guys being guys and all of that. And I'm doing air quotes for those in the podcast. So
do you think they're picking up on those?
Yeah, exactly. So following the bans, Burberry pulled the checked baseball caps from the market and further removed iconic checked pattern from multiple products. According to the BBC, the pattern was featured on 20% of its products in 2002, and by 2004, it appeared on less than 5%. And the fashion house also tapped its legal team and started cracking down on counterfeiters and anyone using the beige check pattern without permission. So come up with your own beige check pattern, folks. And,
exactly. I mean, it's kind of weird because it's like somebody could act like this and be wearing jeans or something.
Right. Yep. Oh, sorry.
Interesting.
Pretty fascinating, right? All because bad actors. It's why we can't have nice things. But I could care less about Burberry. So Louis Vuitton.
Burberry might care about this.
I'd rather eat blueberries than wear Burberry. That was good, huh? You can't deny that. That was actually pretty smart. Well, anyway, I'm going to pull down my cap. When I lift it up, we're going to be back at the front page of ohmTown.com. And we're going to call it a night, folks. I'm Mayor Watt. Thanks for hanging out. Sentient AI from the future is going to say bye and whatever else they choose to say.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for another episode.
See you soon.
And watch out for that Burberry.
I want my Burberry. I want my Burberry.